Well, Fidel Amakye Owusu is the Chief Executive Officer for DefSEC Analytics Africa. It's a security consultancy group. He's joining us from Accra. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for being with us. Why is it that the DRC is so important for the African Union?
Thank you very much for having me, sir. Firstly, the DRC is the second largest country in Africa by land size, and it shares border with 9 other African countries, one of the largest number of countries that a country shares border with in Africa. And so whatever happens in the DRC has the ramification of affecting other countries or creating the vortex that draws so many countries into any conflict or any situation. So we are talking about countries like South Sudan, Central African Republic, Zambia, Angola, Rwanda, Burundi, and others who all share border with the important country. So this makes whatever that is happening in the DRC very, very volatile and has the potential to affect many other interests.
I mean, this isn't as Harry was just describing, this isn't the only conflict or humanitarian crisis that the African Union is dealing with. Is the African Union actually able to focus on so many individual elements and topics and give them the attention that they deserve?
Yeah, so the other thing is that despite the many problems that Africa is challenged with, for instance, political instability in West Africa, migration in North Africa, and many other problems, the current situation in the DRC, because of the advancement of the rebels and the propensity to result in a total war in the Great Lakes region in East Africa, because of that, the AU or African Union is prioritizing this particular conflict. And currently, as of today, they are holding the ordinary session of the Executive Council, made up of ministers, foreign ministers, who are going to draft decisions and going to prioritize what is to be discussed. And it is very evident that the DRC problem or the conflict in Eastern DRC is going to feature massively on the next session, ordinary session of the AU General Assembly on the 15th and the 16th.
Hara was just describing, of course, that nevertheless this has created tension within the African Union itself, because she was saying that East African states are saying that there is no way that the southern African states should be taking a lead in this, because it's the East African nations that are much more likely to be affected by it. So how much do you think that is going to, if nothing else, make a decision, reaching a final decision even more complex?
Yeah, so that would be a one-sided argument, because as I mentioned, the country is very huge and it affects multiple regions. And in fact, technically, the DRC is a member state of the Southern African Development Community, and it's joined the SADC as a member earlier, or decades earlier, before joining the EAC, the East African Community, 2 years ago. So this makes whatever that is happening in the country very relevant or very important to all these regions. And South Africa's presence and contribution of forces is in line with the DRC's membership of the SADC. More so, the Angolan process or the Luanda talks, which is being mediated by the president of Angola, is also very important. And this is because Angola is also a member of the Southern African Development Community. So the Southern African Development Community sees this conflict as an important one, or as a very delicate one, just as the East African Community sees it. In fact, earlier in 2023, Kenya and other East African forces contributed forces to Eastern DRC. But it looks like Kinshasa was not satisfied with that mission, and that ended in late 2023. And so this brings some tension between the two regions, and that is also prolonging the conflict and making it more complicated.
Fidel Amakye Owusu, we appreciate you being with us. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Thank you.
You are most welcome.